James Brown, the man. What can I tell you? I mean, at that time, the groove you're playing, you have to be very cognizant of what's going on at the stage at any given time. If you're watching a show and the musician's staring at the singer and not looking at you, you start looking at him and getting distracted. So it was the art of peripheral vision. And that would mean that you're looking out in the audience and the people looking at you, you're smiling at them, but in the peripheral, you have to keep the artist himself in your view because you never know where you're going. Now you're playing, then all of a sudden he wants to go to the bridge and you miss it. Well, now you're going to pay a $25 fine. You just made a mistake. This training, I think, was very good to have a musician that's disciplined, able to funk and groove and enjoy it, but be disciplined enough to see the whole band. And I said to myself, whoa, what a school this is. If I'm sitting in somebody's classroom learning about a major scale, or I'm on stage learning, on-the-job training, Mr. Brown was a really great teacher. In addition, in 1978, Youngblood, as they called me, I got called to do a Miles Davis record because I had done an Al Foster record. And Al Foster, the drummer, recommended myself, and so did the Brecker brothers recommend me, and I went with Miles. There's an autobiography out of him called So What? It's a blue book, and you'll see under Larry Coryell's name, that band we had. And there's a whole page on what he said to me that day. Have ears bigger than your head. I was like, what? He meant, listen. Then you'll know what to say. Music is a conversation. So once again, I was a big Miles Davis fan, and I ended up playing with him. So I would say that James Brown, Miles Davis, I played with Chrissie Hynde and the Pretenders, where I learned the art of pop songwriting. I would consider them Tina Turner. They're teachers. Tina in the studio was doing her whole Tina thing. And I said, Tina, there's no audience. I mean, why are you jumping around doing the whole thing in the studio with a mic? She goes, sweetheart, whether the people can see us or not, they can feel that in the music. If we're sitting on a bunch of boxes playing like this, she says, you can actually feel that in the music. So she said to us, put that power you would in the stage and people will hear that. And she turned out to be right. So I would consider all of these different bands I played with, from Miles to Brown, through her, to Steve Vai, I played with him. These are all teachers, and I learned from them. And that's what it is. That's James Brown, the man. Boy, that was something else. And I'm so proud to have played with him. And incidentally, now that I'm out here with Bootsy Collins on this tour, that's what the two of us have in common. He played on Sex Machine, Get Up, Get On Up. And I played on Living in America, so we're both James Brown bass players that came together now to bring this music back, because there's too much sequencing and faking and lip syncing and whatever people do, auto-tuning and things on people's voice and on their instruments, that we came together as a power team. It's called Funk Unity, to be out here and bring the real music back to the youth and everyone else, because there's a lot of people who came, whoa, what is that? Because they haven't seen a tight band like that. And the older crowd is going, it's back, it's back. So that's why we're out here on a mission. So coming live from me to you for bass players only, baby. We ain't done yet, hang in there. 1978 was a really interesting and pivotal year for me as a musician. That was the year that I did play with Miles Davis. And from playing with Miles Davis, John McLaughlin got a wind of me. And he said, whoa, who's this young bass player playing with Miles? All of this. He's, whoa, I want to try something new. So Al Foster said I can reach him. And at that time, I lived in Chelsea, in New York. And I would get the calls, like I said. We didn't have cell phones. So if I was home, I'd get a call. And if I was on the street they would call radio registry and bzzz, it's buzzed. I would go to a payphone and call. Well, I was home. I got a call, and it was a Japanese lady. Oh, hello, how are you? She says, we got your number from Al Foster, and we'd like to hire you for a session. And remember, I told you I was a session musician, so that's a day's work. Yes, I'm down. Who's the session for? Miles Davis. I almost dropped the phone. Stop joking. I thought she was joking and playing a... No, it's Miles Davis. Are you kidding me? No, he wants you. He wants your feel. I said, yes. Remember, this no doesn't exist in my dictionary. Meet us the day after tomorrow. We'll send a car for you and we'll go. So a limo came and they had picked most of the musicians up. I get in the limo and I'm sitting there and they take us up to Connecticut. And I'm going, oh my goodness. Oh man. We get out of the car and as we got out, I was pulling my bass out of the trunk. I looked through the door, it was cracked. There he was sitting on the couch. I went, oh my God, that's the venerable Miles Davis. We went into the room and he said, welcome. And I was just trembling. I would hope that I would be playing. So he said, set up, and we all set up and we got our tunings together and the sound together. I'll be upstairs. He left. So we started playing and we were listening to the ideas he wanted to do. It was an adagio, almost African type thing. And as we're playing, you'd hear the intercom ring. We'd stop. Yes? I'll open that. Okay. We play again. You hear the buzzer beat. We push the intercom. Yes? Tim, answer more, leave more holes in the music, and so on with the guitars and everybody. And then he came back downstairs, and I asked Larry Coryell and I said, well, why is he upstairs listening in the intercom? And the answer was, when Miles was sitting there, you'd be playing differently. You'd be a little bit more self-conscious because you know he's watching you, and you might not play yourself. You're trying to please him. When he's not in the room, you're going to be more yourself, and then he can actually hear what you're going to do for the music, because he didn't want you to do what he's thinking. He wanted you to bring something to the music. And I thought that was ingenious. He wanted the best of us. The final rehearsal before the session, I said, did you like that? He goes, yes, I. What do you mean? I played my best licks. He said, that's your problem. He says, when you're just playing your best licks, you're not stretching. You're not looking for it. You're just playing your best licks. And I said, whoa, what do we do? He said, stop thinking. Play. And I said, well, suppose I make a mistake. He said, that's exactly what I'm saying, young blood. He says, never be afraid to make a mistake. A mistake is a gateway to progress. He says, if you're playing and somebody hit a flat 5, because in country, boom, 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 that's a 5, boom, boom, that's a diminished flat 5. Somebody hit that note. Wait a minute, I like that. And they took it from there, and that's how you make progress. And from that point, I stopped thinking. So basically, my advice for bass players only readers and listeners, just play, don't think. And the rest will take care of it. Stop playing the music, let the music play you. And that would be my advice. From Miles Davis.